In 2021, boat dealers scrambled to stock a record 684,000 outboards, betting on a boom that would never last. Now, in early 2025, their showrooms are overflowing with brand new 2024 engines selling for half price because high interest costs and weak demand have turned last year's bounty into a financial nightmare. But how did the industry get trapped in this crisis? And who is really paying for these bargains? By the spring of 2020, the boating industry was running at full speed. As lockdowns swept the country, families flocked to the water, fueling a surge in demand for boats and outboard engines. Dealers, eager to capture every sale, placed orders that dwarfed their historical averages. Manufacturers like Mercury, Yamaha, and Suzuki responded by ramping up production, pushing factories to their limits, and rolling out new high-horsepower models. In 2021 alone, shipments of new outboard engines reached 684,000 units worldwide, a record that left even seasoned industry veterans stunned. Dealerships, convinced the boom would last, filled their lots with inventory. Bulk orders became the norm, and some dealers doubled or even tripled their typical annual intake. One dealer put it simply, "We thought we were geniuses. Now every invoice is a reminder we bet the farm on a mirage." As 2022 approached, the backlog of orders kept growing, with engines still on the way even as the first signs of cooling demand started to appear. By mid-2022, the tide was beginning to turn. Shipments kept arriving, but the pace of sales was already slowing. Instead of empty showrooms, dealers faced rows of crated outboards, stacking up in warehouses and back lots. The industry's supply pipeline was now primed with far more engines than buyers, setting the stage for the inventory glut that would soon overwhelm the market. The fallout from this overordering would soon ripple through every aspect of the business, putting enormous pressure on dealers who had staked everything on a pandemic-driven surge that couldn't last. Most boat dealerships rely on floor plan loans to fill their lots, borrowing against inventory with the expectation that engines will sell quickly. But when sales slow, the math turns punishing. Lenders typically finance 70 to 85% of the sticker price, leaving dealers on the hook for the rest. If a dealer carries $1 million in outboards at 80% loan to value, that is $800,000 borrowed. Every month, those engines sit unsold, interest piles up. By late 2024, floor plan rates had climbed into double digits. The cost to carry inventory ballooned as the Federal Reserve raised base rates, and some lenders tacked on extra points for risk. A dealer with 120 unsold engines at $8,000 each, nearly $1 million in inventory, faced interest charges of $8,000 every month just to keep those engines on the books. For many, that single line item now outweighed the total profit from all sales combined. Lenders responded to rising risk by tightening curtailment schedules. Instead of semi-annual or quarterly paydowns, some dealers were forced to make principal payments every month, or pay down 25 to 33% of aging inventory after just 6 or 9 months. Miss a payment, and lenders threatened to accelerate the entire loan, seize collateral, or freeze credit lines. Some dealers received lien letters demanding immediate action, 5 business days to pay, or risk losing their entire floor plan. These stricter terms left little room for error. The longer outboards sat, the faster cash drained from operating accounts. Dealers who once counted on steady sales now faced a relentless squeeze from both sides, unsold engines tying up capital, and lenders ratcheting up pressure with each passing month. The only way out was to cut prices and move inventory, even if it meant selling at a loss. Numbers tell the story of an inventory glut and a market under strain. By early 2025, the national average for outboard inventory had climbed to nearly 9 months of supply, almost double the level seen a year earlier. Monthly data from the National Marine Manufacturers Association shows this spike was not spread evenly. Gulf Coast and Southeast dealers reported the highest buildups, with some regions exceeding a full year's worth of unsold 2024 engines stacked in yards and warehouses. Boat Trader classified data reveals another side of the crisis. The average days on market for new outboards jumped more than 50% compared to 2023. In some coastal markets, listings lingered for months, while inland dealers faced slower turnover than at any point in the last decade. The number of late-model outboards for sale more than doubled in just 2 years, overwhelming both retail and auction channels. These metrics paint a clear picture. Dealers are holding far more engines than buyers are willing to absorb, and every extra day comes with mounting financial risk. Manufacturer contracts rarely allow dealers to simply return unsold engines, even when lots are overflowing. Instead, dealers face a maze of incentives and penalties designed to push inventory downstream, a kind of allocation pressure from manufacturers. Original equipment manufacturers set allocation targets based on past sales, often ignoring recent market slowdowns. Accepting more engines than needed can mean access to volume bonuses and marketing funds, but refusing shipments risks losing future allocations or even termination. Some dealers reported being pressured through internal communications to accept full quotas, with the threat of losing their line if they pushed back. Buyback programs, where available, were limited and highly restrictive, often covering only a fraction of excess stock or requiring dealers to forfeit rebates. In 2024, frustration boiled over. The Marine Retailers Association's dealer scorecard captured widespread complaints about rigid allocation policies and inadequate support. In one high-profile case, Tommy's Boats filed suit against Malibu, alleging that the manufacturer forced extra deliveries, then refused buybacks when sales collapsed. Across the industry, these disputes left dealers carrying the full weight of unsold inventory, with little recourse beyond slashing prices and absorbing the financial hit. At a family-run dealership in the Midwest, the owner stared down a lender's curtailment notice just days before Christmas. With more than $20,000 a month vanishing in interest and rows of crated outboards still unsold, he made a decision that would have seemed unthinkable a year earlier, slashing prices on 2024 engines by half, effectively half price. The hope was to generate enough cash to keep the doors open, even if it meant selling below cost. Staff hours were cut, and conversations with longtime customers took on a new urgency. One buyer, thrilled to score a 250 horsepower outboard at a deep discount, soon found that warranty paperwork was tangled by the dealer's financial stress. 1,000 miles south, the chief operating officer of a Gulf Coast multi-store chain faced a different but equally daunting problem. With warehouses overflowing, the company mapped out cross-yard transfers, shuttling engines from slow-moving locations to outlets with better odds of a sale. Internal meetings shifted from cautious optimism to a scramble for liquidity. The choice was stark: move inventory at a loss or risk defaulting on loans and losing the business altogether. For both dealers, the numbers left no room for wishful thinking, only hard choices and the hope that clearing out 2024 stock would buy time to survive the fallout. Price crash. Prices for late-model outboards have tumbled at a pace rarely seen in the marine industry. By February 2025, auction houses and liquidation platforms were flooded with engines, many less than a year old, and some still wrapped in factory film. Wholesale values for 2024 models dropped between 18% and 30% in just a few months, erasing years of steady appreciation. Dealers unable to cover floor plan payments saw lenders seize inventory, triggering a wave of no-reserve auctions. In these sales, hundreds of outboards changed hands each week, often fetching less than half their original sticker price. Industry analysts estimate that nearly 44% of these liquidated engines are now bound for overseas buyers, loaded into shipping containers and sent to markets in Asia, Africa and South America. The sheer volume of engines moving through auctions and export channels has overwhelmed traditional resale outlets, pushing used prices down even further and leaving both dealers and private sellers scrambling to adjust to a market in freefall. Confirm warranty. Buyers stepping into today's outboard market can take advantage of deep discounts, but a smart approach protects both wallet and peace of mind. Start by confirming the warranty status. Ask if the manufacturer's coverage transfers in full and get that in writing. Some brands limit coverage for discounted or closeout units, so check the serial number with the OEM online tool or through the dealer to spot any open recalls or service bulletins before signing. Check dealer. Next, size up the dealer's financial health. A seller under severe stress may not be able to support warranty claims or service appointments after the sale. If possible, pay by credit card for added protection. Installation and rigging costs can add up fast, so use the markdown as leverage. Negotiate for professional rigging, upgraded controls, or extended service plans as part of the deal. Dealers eager to clear inventory often have room to sweeten the package, especially on accessories or future maintenance. Final checklist. A careful checklist now can turn a liquidation sale into a genuine win. Today, thousands of outboards sit unsold, not from lack of supply, but because the market was outpaced by its own optimism. As dealers race to adapt, buyers and manufacturers face a new reality. Even in boom times, demand can vanish overnight. In this industry, risk never really leaves the water.